So Apple just wrapped up their spring event titled It's Showtime, where they announced several new services that on the surface don't appear to be very exciting, but they do show Apple's commitment to rethinking its business model from how many iPhones can I sell to how many different services can each customer consume. Now, some of the new services are available immediately and range in price, but let's dig into the details on what was announced. Now, I am Mike, and this is Tech 24/7. Let's get started. Now, there are a few overall themes in today's announcement that I want to make sure that you keep top of mind as we review what Apple announced. First, it's going to be multi-platform all the things. Second, it's going to be reduced friction. And third, it's going to be announcement does not equal availability. Now, the first new service that Apple announced is the expanded news and magazine service that Apple is calling Apple News Plus. Now, I do find it somewhat ironic that Tim Cook, who loves to go to the newsstand to see all the beautiful magazine covers, created a service that will eventually kill the newsstand. Apple News Plus is available starting today with iOS 12.2 for $9.99 in the United States and Canada, and hand curates over 300 news and magazine services across the newsstand onto your iOS and Mac devices. Now, some of the more notable US news services include the Wall Street Journal and the LA Times, but notably absent is the New York Times and the Washington Post. Now, what is quite remarkable is the effort that Apple and the publishers went into to design the live view covers seen here with the latest issue of National Geographic, and the fact that Apple emphasized that all the intelligence and recommendations for these magazine and news services are done on device, and underscore that consumer privacy is paramount with publishers not knowing what you read. From a consumer perspective, it is a win if you're someone who subscribes to magazines because you are getting many different subscription services for a low monthly rate of $9.99, and anyone in your family sharing account can use the service with no additional charge. Now, what I can tell you that in my house, where we have two people, both working, one child, I rarely have any free time to sit down and read a magazine or a newspaper. Next up, Apple flexing its strengths in the mobile payment space, touting that it would reach 10 billion Apple Pay transactions in 2019, and announced that transit payments are coming to Chicago, New York, and Portland, Oregon this summer. Now, the second new service that Apple announced today is the expansion of Apple Pay with Apple branded credit card named Apple Card. The new Apple credit card is coming this summer. It's likely going to be in a release like 12.3 around the June or July timeframe, but it should definitely be before iOS 13 hits in the fall. Now, there are a few interesting things that Apple is doing in this space. So one, it's incentivizing consumers to fully embrace a cashless lifestyle with 3% cash back on Apple-related purchases, 2% cash back on all other purchases using the Apple Pay, and 1% cash back when using the physical card. Number two, it's promoting good spending habits by trending of spending. And number three, it is disrupting the credit card industry by rethinking or streamlining the enrollment process and giving customers access to their card immediately. Oh yeah, that physical card is white titanium and your name is laser etched onto it. That means that you can impress that barista at the hipster coffee bar when you need to pay for your bulletproof coffee. Now, the big question is for many is, will there be a business card available and where can I sign up? Now, next up we have Apple Arcade, the third subscription service from Apple that will focus on gaming. You know, it's arcade, it makes sense, right? That will launch in the fall, presumably with iOS 13. Now, Apple Arcade will feature over 100 new and exclusive games that can be played on any iOS or Mac device when the service launches, but Apple actually didn't even include what the pricing is going to be. Apple Arcade will feature games that are feature complete and are all you can play without the nuisance of having in-app purchases, advertising, and all the games can be played either online or offline. Now, what this means is that parents should no longer catch sticker shock when their 8-year-old charges $100 in in-app purchases for pickaxes and dances while playing Fortnite with their friends last week, because games, again, are feature complete and do not require additional purchases. I do think that a subscription service for gaming is going to be useful, but practically speaking, I believe many parents are going to get strong-armed or guilt-tripped by their children, right, to download that one game or that one app purchase for the game that's not included in Apple Arcade, but all their friends are playing it, so let me know in the comments below what you have been guilted into doing for your child, all right? And if you don't comment, I know either you're lying or you don't have kids. Now, this brings us to this fourth service that was announced today, and this is Apple TV channels that will sit upon the newly designed Apple TV interface. Now, for me, this is the most welcome change because I use my Apple TV around 45 to 60 minutes a day to catch up on podcasts. Now, that new service functions as an aggregator of sorts, and it tightens up the integration between Apple and the premium content providers such as HBO, Starz, and Showtime. Now, what it does is it removes the friction for the consumer between identifying what they want to watch and it actually starting. For example, if you want to watch a movie that is available on Amazon Prime Video and maybe Starz and even HBO, and you subscribe to HBO, you end up going down this rabbit hole of picking out which one of the services you want to go to and then selecting play, and then it's just not really, it's not very intuitive at all. In tomorrow's world, the new interface should greatly reduce the number of redirects between selecting what you want to play and then actually starting playing. Other notable changes include being able to swipe left or swipe right from the content card interface instead of backing out to the screen, swiping left, swiping right at that point, and then selecting the next piece of content. It is actually the worst in apps like Apple's own trailers. The newly redesigned TV interface will also include a kids section, and it will get its own Mac app when the service launches, which could signal that more and more functionality is getting carved carefully out of iTunes. And let's hope so, because iTunes is a monstrosity and I hope Apple kills it. And finally, Apple announced that its Apple TV app would make its way to more smart televisions and streaming platforms, including the Roku and Apple Television. And last but not least, we have Apple's foray into premium video streaming content known as Apple TV Plus that will launch later this fall. The new streaming service garnered celebrities like Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell, Reese Witherspoon, had commentary from Steven Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, to name a few, and even Steven Spielberg is going to be rebooting The Amazing Stories in hope of capturing the inquisitiveness of a new generation of children, and we got Oprah. I mean, you can't go wrong with Oprah, right? Now, Apple is undeniably behind the 8 ball when it comes to having a breadth of content for consumers to choose from when you compare it against Netflix and Amazon. But to its credit, Apple has the power of being the default app on a platform that has over 1.4 billion devices, and there isn't a $99 prerequisite in the case of Amazon Prime. That, in addition to, Apple's should have a much larger footprint in where its content's going to be available when you compare it against Amazon Prime. Now, I think Apple would be best served if they were to give away this type of content in maybe an Apple Care subscription or with its annual iPhone upgrade. Now, that said, I need some time to wrap my mind around kind of how I think this is going to play out in September. Now, let's refocus on the 3 themes that I outlined in the beginning of the video. So first, we're talking about multi-platform all the things. Apple is previewing a glimpse of their vision for the future when an app can be purchased once and played or consumed on any platform. This was first talked about during last year's WWDC when Apple brought home, news, and the stock apps, and maybe even voice notes, to the Mac, and I wouldn't expect that it stops there, meaning that this year we should see more iOS-only apps brought to the Mac in September. Now, number 2 is going to be reduced friction. Apple's bread and butter is about removing friction from customers' lives and really charging them a premium for it. But they potentially missed a large opportunity here to simplify the number of transactions that we pay to Apple on a monthly basis. Now, which means we will probably have to wait to September for a more complete picture of how this is going to be, but I want to reduce the number of Apple iTunes transactions on my credit card bill. It's annoying. I get emails for it all the time. Now, I know I could probably just turn off emails, but that's not the point. And number 3 is going to be announcement does not equal availability. Apple continues to play it fast and loose with announcing new services well before they are available to consumers. Now, there might be a little bit of a nuance here that Apple traditionally has more control over the bits than they do for atoms. This gives them the warm and fuzzies with announcing new services that are going to be purely software based, but only time will tell how that story is going to play out. Hey everyone, thank you very much for watching my recap of Apple's special event titled It's Showtime. Now, what, if any, of the services shown here are you most excited about? And if you could change just one, what would you change? Now, I've linked a couple of videos here to my left, meaning your right, including a random suggestion from YouTube in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, I am expecting the 2019 iPad Air and iPad Mini, in addition to the AirPods 2, are going to be here this week, so you should be subscribed for my initial impressions and the full review video. Thanks very much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.